Hi, welcome back to AtoBeezeBooks. I'm Ryan, and today we're going to be doing another weekly recap where I will let you know what I've been reading, what I've been watching, and new releases and any drama, which I actually do have some this week. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in watching, please stick around. So first up, we will recap the 3 books that I have been reading. So we have The Blue Sisters by Coco Mellar, and I ended up getting to 67% for a total of 35% being read last week. I made a lot of progress, and my book club is actually tomorrow night. I have about 2 hours left of listening/reading time, and I ended up doing some immersive reading on my sprints on Sunday, and I really liked it. I'm not enjoying this book all that much, as I've discussed multiple times, but I think it's growing on me. I think I've come to a realization that I just don't like contemporary books. It's not that I don't like this style of writing. So once I finish this book, I'm going to put it through Compile and give it a real honest shot for my ratings, because I think there are parts of this book that are well written and the story's interesting and valuable, but it's just not for me. It's really just not my type of book, but I don't want to take that into account when I'm rating my book, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I will finally be rid of this book in the next 24 hours, and I'm very happy about that. I have continued reading the Massey Murders by Charlotte Gray. I didn't get much read this week on this one, but I am still really enjoying it. It's still doing that whole kind of tangent of going down little stories, but I think you need all this context for why this case ended up blowing up the way it was or did, and the end result will all be kind of like a reflection of what the society looked like at that time. So I need the context, because right now I'm on a random tangent about a newspaper war, and that all comes into play on how this case was perceived among many different socioeconomic groups throughout the city of Toronto, but also I think it made international news and for sure national news. So I'll keep reading this. I am really enjoying it, and I find it's going pretty quick considering it is a nonfiction. The third book that I've been reading this week is The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osman. I picked it up on Thursday when it came out, and I've been really enjoying it. I got to 19%. It's for sure following that same formula that he always has, with lots of POVs, the coziness, the current references. For example, there were kind of 2 unintentional Great British Bake Off references in this book, which was just funny for me because I just finished watching an episode of the Great British Bake Off. But yeah, if you're a fan of the Thursday Murder Club, so far it's exactly how you want a Thursday Murder Club book to be. I don't have anything coming up on my TBR for this week. I am currently juggling 3 books. So once I kind of reduce that number and finish the books that I've currently started, then I'll start incorporating more. For sure, once I finish Blue Sisters, I'll get a new audiobook started. Coming up this week, we have 3 books being released on Thursday, October 7th. The first is Twice by Mitch Albom. I think I've read 1 book of his, Tuesdays with Maury, if that's the same author. I'm not a big fan of his, but I do know that he has a pretty big following and his books are well received. Here is the snippet for this book. What if you got to do everything in your life twice? The heart of Mitch Albom's newest novel is a stunning love story that dares to explore how our unchecked desires might mean losing what we've had all along. And right now, the rating on Goodreads from ARCs is a 4.5. I don't always trust ARC ratings. I just think there is probably some inherent bias in getting a book early and feeling pressure to give it a positive review. So take these ratings with a grain of salt is basically what I'm trying to say. The second book we have is The Intruder by Frida McFadden. In this taut, deadly tale of survival and desperation, #1 New York Times bestselling author Frida McFadden explores how far one girl will go to save herself. Again, I've not read a lot of Frida McFadden, but I do really like thrillers and I want to read her books, so I figured this was an interesting one to highlight because I do know that she is quite a popular thriller author. And this one has a 4.37 rating so far with ARCs. Lastly, the book that's coming out is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Another one where this isn't something I've read. I've never read this author, but it is book number 2 in the Bride series. And I just remember Bride being so popular on like Book Talk, and I see it like in all the bookstores, like highlighted and popular on Book Talk. So I figured I would mention that this second book is coming out, and the little blurb is a human hybrid and an alpha were alpha were, oh, I assume it's like an alpha werewolf, claw against the bonds of fate in the highly anticipated companion novel to the New York Times bestselling Bride. That's interesting. Companion novel. So I guess it says book number 2 like on Goodreads, but maybe is it from the dude's perspective maybe? So that has a 4.29 rating on Goodreads in the ARCs. So there are no new TV shows or movies coming out that are screen to book adaptations that I could find. I do have some drama. It's not totally drama, but I am grasping at straws, but it was interesting to me. So I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw someone come on and they were like, I can't believe Rebecca Yarros would post this. I'm so disappointed. And so I was just like, oh God, what did she write? Like, do I have to feel bad that I'm reading an author that's been canceled? So I look into the post that she's kind of like, you know, when you do green screen or whatever, and I'm reading them and they're really small, so they're not totally easy to read, but like what I am reading, I'm like, I don't really necessarily disagree with this. Like where's the problem? What's the cancelable offense? Because I don't see anything too crazy. So then I went to the comments and it was all just commenting being like, did you read Fourth Wing? ? So I guess the posts that she was posting were obviously like in support of the LGBTQ community, pro-Palestine, obviously pro-women's rights. She's very much against book bans. And so I guess a subsect of her fan base opposed these ideologies, and they were super disappointed that she would come out in favor of more liberal points of view. Exactly like the comments say, did these people not read Fourth Wing? Like nothing about Fourth Wing screams like what's going on in the States right now. So I found that super interesting and also breathed like a huge sigh of relief. I do know that Rebecca Yarros used to write like army romance novels. So I wonder if she picked up a few more conservative readers in the beginning of her career just based on that subgenre. Even though like I am not conservative and I really used to love the show Army Wives and like totally understand why that would be like a interesting subgenre of romance, and I could totally see myself reading something. Yeah, I think that there are these carryovers from those romance days that are not necessarily kind of like the Book Talk girlies who seem to be really accepting of everybody and open to lots of point of views. So I just thought that was interesting, and I'm glad I don't have to cancel Rebecca Yarros yet, I guess. But also just in general, what's your point of view on canceling authors? I don't totally know where I stand in terms of separating the author from their works and how you navigate that, because if that was the case, I don't know how much we could read because nobody is perfect. So I guess it's, where do you personally draw the line? I think for me, I can't say one way or another because it depends on what their positions are and how strongly I oppose those things. There are obviously people that I will not support because I think the best way to kind of protest is through your wallet, like hit them where they care, and that is typically with money. It's easy to support people that you've aligned with and want to support, like with purchasing books, but then there are other things where there are plenty of authors, for example, Sarah J. Maas and Colleen Hoover, that I know are problematic, but I do read them. And I do carry a little bit of guilt, but I also like don't even know why they're canceled. I never look into it. So I guess that's just ignorance on my part. But I think if we looked into every single author, we would find a problem somewhere. So where is everyone's stance on that? And should I like stop reading these authors? I don't know. Anyways, that was a ramble. Thank you so much for sticking along to the end with me, and let me know if you'll be picking up any of the books I mentioned or any other books that are coming out this week. I'll catch you next week. Goodbye.